Howdy. How's all my YouTubers out there? I'm doing a special video here, and we'll see how this turns out. I am making a Christmas ornament, a wooden Christmas ornament. This is for our county's community center's Christmas tree. They asked the Woodcarvers Club to make a bunch of Christmas ornaments for the Christmas tree. Apparently they had some, but they all came up missing. So they need some more Christmas ornaments for the tree this year. And our illustrious leader, Tom, got some basswood, and he took it to his scroll saw and cut out a bunch of different shapes and stuff and passed them out at the meeting this past Wednesday to us. So we are working on these Christmas tree ornaments, and we can carve them up and decorate them any way we want to. He did the rough out shape. I took a Christmas tree here to work on, and it was just the sides of it there that was carved out, and I carved the design in the tree itself at the meeting Wednesday evening, and brought it home, did a little sanding on it, and I painted the back and the sides of it already with some of my Liquitex alcohol inks. And it's coming out much better than I even expected it to come out. So I thought I would go ahead and video this. I will have to do this in segments here, so this video may look a little broken up to you because it's going to have to dry, and I'm going to put a coat of sealer on it, and then I'm going to go to decorating it, which is, I'm contemplating doing some wire wrapping and a bunch of different things to this, and putting some beads in the wire wrapping and everything. So hopefully it's going to turn out looking really cool when I get done. But I thought y'all would like to see what I'm up to here and what kind of design that I come up with on this. And you will be watching as I go, because even I don't know how this is going to turn out. So I'm going to go ahead here in this segment and put the alcohol ink on the top of it here. You can watch me do my painting on it. And then I will turn off the camera and let it dry overnight, put the sealer on it and let it dry. And then I will come back and start in again on this video. And it'll all just look like one big thing to you because of the edit. And then I'll be doing the wire wrapping and all that on it. So you get to see what I'm doing with it. But we'll put a little bit of this alcohol ink on there. And then what I'm doing, I'm applying it with a Q-tip. I found that that was the best way to get it down in the nooks and crannies on this, because I want the whole thing covered. This is the copper. And it's going to be a copper Christmas tree. I'm also going to put some white or silver, or maybe both, on the little tips of the points here on it. Make it look like it's got a little snow on it. And see how that comes out. I'll show you my sample thing. This is the sample that I took. This is a piece of basswood as well. And I took my alcohol inks, and I've got the bronze, and that was the white. That is the silver, the black, the copper, and the gold. I wanted to see what it looked like on a piece of basswood before I approached this tree. And the one I liked best was the copper. I'm thinking if I come in with the silver on the ends of the branches there, that the silver will probably show up best on this. So that's what we're going to try, and we'll see how it looks on top of this copper. Just take it one step at a time on it. And we just keep working on it until we get her done. It takes as long as it takes. Nobody said that it would be quick. But I'm thinking it's sure going to be pretty when I get it done. it'll be one of a kind. There won't be another and turn up like it. And I'm going to try to get on the video as they come in at the Woodcarvers Club on Wednesday nights. As they get them done and bring them in, I'll try to get a picture of what everybody else comes up with all their projects. They got several different designs they're working with. Some of them's got little Christmas stockings, and some of them's got Santa Clauses and different things that they're doing. But since, I'm relatively new to this, I wanted something that wasn't going to take a whole lot of hand carving. They they really like for it to be hand carved stuff up there. I mean, some of them don't care if you use tools, like engravers or Dremels or that sort of thing to do it. But a majority of them, they're old school and they want to see it all done by hand. I mean, I could have done some of them that have the more intricate designs pretty quick with a Dremel or an engraver. But, I'm trying to do what they want done. So, we're just doing the hand carving there for them. And then I could decorate a tree up a whole lot easier than I can a Santa Claus or a little Christmas stocking, This turns loose a little bit more of my mixed media and artistic design to the project. We want to be sure and get it down in all the crevices there that I've carved out on it. Not leave any bare spots a showing on it. I've already signed the back of it and got that looking pretty good. I think we can see down there on the bottom of the back of it, you can see down at the bottom I signed it BrendaG. And that's how I sign all my work. I mean, shoot, I think it's almost pretty enough with that alcohol ink on it that I don't need to go no further, but I am going to. That is bright and shiny and a pretty metallic little tree. See how shiny that is in the camera lens there. And we'll just let that sit there a minute and dry before I go at it with the silver. I want to get the silver on it and let her dry here for a few hours, and then we'll hit it with the gloss coat on one side, and then we'll hit it with gloss coat on the other side. And I'll come back to the camera and we'll start a wire wrapping and a beading and all kinds of fun things. Let's see, now how do I want to do this? Let me get a strip of paper here. I'm going to put a little bit of this alcohol ink on that paper. I don't want to put it right on the project because that might be too much. This way I can control how much of it actually goes on. And see, there's a little strip right there on the top of it that kind of sticks over like it might be a little place that some snow would mount up on it. We'll do it around on the side just a little bit there. And down here's a little corner where there might be a little snow. There's a little bit. Got one to put it on with and one to take it off if I get too much on there. I'll come down through there just a little bit on the edges. Little snow. Don't want to put it on heavy, just giving it the appearance that there's some snow that might have accumulated on the little tree. A little more interest. And I encourage you that, you know, if you haven't taken up trying to do something like this, it's not hard to do. You just need a piece of wood. Preferably you start out with something soft, just like Randy told us there in the first interview I did with him up at the Woodcarvers Club. And basswood is the one that most people start off with, being soft and easy to carve. And you need a sharp knife. And you need a way to keep that knife sharp, because knives dull out quick when you're carving up on the wood. It just puts a little extra shine on it there. I'm liking that. I think that's looking good on my little tree. Yeah, they gave us carte blanche on how we wanted to do them. If we wanted to stain them or leave them plain or paint them or what we wanted to do. And you know, leaving me unsupervised to the craft project, man, that's a dangerous proposition. Leaving me unsupervised at all is a dangerous proposition. Would you give me a craft project, it's hard telling what I'll come up with. So we got a little wet spot there. Dry it down a little bit. We don't need none of the paint pooling on it. Pooly bazooly. And need just a tinch more. Tinch. Anybody know what a tinch is? That's a tinch and a half. So we have to take a little of that off there. Just trying to give it the illusion of some snow. There, I think that's looking pretty doggone good. Get it up there for the camera where you can see what I've been doing. And now we just let that dry. I see some wet spots on it there, and we don't want to go after it with any sealer with their wet spots on it, so it's going to need to sit and dry for a bit. And I will see you all right back here in just a few minutes. For you, well, shoot, it'll be seconds for you. It'll be several hours for me. So hang tight. Okay, everybody, we're back. Now, it's real quick for you, but it's been a while for me. And what I've done, you saw there before I took the break, was to paint this. And I painted it with the alcohol inks in a copper, and then I touched up all the little edges here on the tree with the silver alcohol ink, and this is all metallic, so it's nice and bright and shiny and pretty. Then I put a coat of the gloss, and my mind's pulling a blank here, gloss varnish on it, front and back and sides and all. I did 2 coats on it to seal it up really good. Then I glued the bail to the top of it where the little cord will go into it to hang it on the tree. Now I'm ready to start decorating my little tree. And I've taken some very, very fine gold wire, jewelry wire. It comes on a spool. It looks like this. I got everything tangled up here on my desk right now. This says that it is bead wire. It's 34 gauge. There's 24 yards of it on a spool. and you can get it about any place where they sell jewelry supplies. I wrapped it around the bottom of the tree and well, what in the world? That's late, and I've been up for a long day here. I twisted the wires together there on the back to hold it together, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull that wire around through these little grooves here on the front. Now at the bottom of it, I'm not going to put any decorations on it. I'm just going to pull it around the bottom, and this is easier said than done because the wire is very fine, but I tried another wire that I had. This stuff, it is a cloth wrapped wire, and it's white cloth on that wire. It is heavier gauge than what this gold wire is, and I didn't like the way it looked on the tree. I want the wire to be unobtrusive. I want the decorations to show up on the wire. But I don't want the wire, taken away from the tree. So I'm just going to push it down in those grooves right there, good and tight, like that. And now I'm going to have to wrap it around through itself on the back, here on the bottom, and that way it will all stay. Oops, got it off the bottom there just a little bit on that round. Pulled her loose. This is going to be a little bit tedious because of the wire being so fine, but it has to be a fine wire, or else it's going to take away from the wooden ornament itself. I'm trying to keep this in the camera eyesight here and work on it at the same time. It's like trying to juggle I don't know what, a flock of pigeons. Okay, now pull this wire around to the back, find the end of it here, and loop it through so that it kind of ties it down. There we go. That was the easiest part of this so far. And pull that up through. Now, we're going to want this to come back up right there on the side along this. And in addition to that, let me move this camera just a little bit here, give me room to get my hands in there. And I may have way too much wire here, but I'd rather have too much than not enough. I mean, it can be spliced and all, but why make more work for myself, right? So, now we're going to take a bead, and we're going to put a bead on the wire. And get it up where I can see it with my old eyes. There we go. I'll pull that down on that wire till it gets down to the tree, and then I'm going to place it where I'm wanting it to go. And I want it to go right about where that little mark is there that I carved in the wood, and I'm going to wrap the wire around it a couple of times to hold it in place, because I don't want these slipping around all over, and they all end up at the bottom of the ornament. Then I'm pushing the wire, taking my pointy tool, my stylus, I'm going to push that wire into the groove right there. Then I'm going to put another bead on the wire. Easy for me to say, huh? There we go. I'll pull that down on the wire. Got all kinds of stuff piled up here on my desk. I'm working on all kinds of projects at the same time. Yeah. Thought I had that in there. Now it's moved around on me. I hate to have to glue that wire in. I didn't want a bunch of glue on the front of this. But something tells me it's going to be moving around if I don't. But we're going to give this a shot here. Now, get that down about where I want it. And then I'm going to wrap the wire around it a couple of times. I don't know. I may find out this ain't going to work at all. But I think it will. I'm going to keep the faith. If I can get that wire around there. There we go. One more time just to be sure. There we go. Pull that up. And down through the groove. Well, I don't know. Maybe it's not going to go in them grooves the way I want it to. Come on, little wire. Cooperate with me. Pull it nice and tight around that. Well, they're not exactly where I want them to be, but they're close on there. I think they'll be fine. I mean, just because it ain't where I want them to go, they're going where they want to go, and they're on the tree, for heaven's sake. I have a tendency to be a perfectionist, and art is not a perfectionist thing. Art has its own ideas on how it wants to be arted. Okay, we're gonna get that one on. My wire's trying to kink up on me. We don't want that. You hear Fred there in the background. He's trying to supervise me. Fred the cockatiel. Okay. And we've got to wrap that around a couple times, or it's just going to be hanging in the wind. Now, got it wrapped around a couple times, pull it tight. Thread another bead on. Probably got way more beads out here than I'm going to need, but they are not the only decorations I'm going to put on the tree. Oh, chasing that one. These are stone beads, and I couldn't tell you what the millimeter is on them. They're a little smaller than an M&M. I think all of you know what an M&M is. And I couldn't tell you where I got them. I mean, I've got a whole cabinet full of beads. I just went through looking for some pretty green and red ones for my Christmas tree. I wanted something Christmassy colored. Especially after I decided that I was going to paint the tree copper color. Had to get some Christmas in there somewhere along the line. Okay, we got that one wired down. Now we'll put another bead on there. Pull that one over to this edge a little closer. And take the wire and wrap it around the bead a couple of times to hold it in place so it don't go sliding around. And we'll take the wire down in that little nubby place there. Well, I thought I had it wrapped around, but apparently I do not, because now it is taking on a life of its own. Okay, look here, little feller. You going to cooperate with Mama. There, we got it. No, I got it that time. Okay. And we'll push the wire around toward where those notches are. Now, why are you wrapped around the red one? Giving me grief. Okay. For some reason. Oh, I see. Okay. Alright. Now we got it. Here we go. Get it in the right groove. I'm going to be off one. Alright. Actually, that don't look too bad. All things considered. Now this one has decided to take on a life of its own. We'll twist it up there in the wire a little bit so it don't slide around. There we go. Now, well, don't like that. Broke my wire is what I did. Okay. Alright. Broke right up in there. I see where you're at. Well, now this can be fixed. We'll splice it. Just trying to avoid that. Take it loose and splice her together. When I was a little girl on the farm, my daddy taught me how to wire. He said that most people don't know how to wire anything together. They want to just, take one piece and wrap it around the other one kind of thing. He says, you don't do that. He says, you want a wire to stay put where you put it, then you wrap both pieces of wire. You twist them both. And that way you get them to stay put. So I twist both wires when I wire, whether I'm wiring a fence or doing jewelry work or whatever I'm doing. Okay. Now we had to take a bead off to get that to cooperate with us there, so we'll have to put another bead on now. Alright. It was looking good till that happened, didn't it? This way you get to see the process, good and bad. I mean, not everything works the first time around. Sometimes you got to play with things a little bit, or even stop what you're doing and change it up. Find out something ain't working. Change her up. Alright. Now there's 3 beads on that row. Then we're going to bring the wire up and around that, I'm going to call it a tree limb. This little pointy part right here. Bring it up and around that to the next one. Now, unless you carve your own, you're never going to find another little tree like this. They don't sell these at the store. These is ones that we carved in our wood carving group. But the technique still applies regardless of what you're working on. You have corners to work around on stuff, use them. Okay, got another bead there. And we'll finding the best way to get them to stay where I want them is if I take the bead and then twist it so that the wires twist together on it. Seems to be the best way to do it. At least for me. Your mileage may vary. If you have a better technique that works for you, by all means. Don't let me talk you out of it. Alright. And we got that bead on there. And my other end of the wire is getting tangled up here. There we go. Now, we stick another bead on there. And I hit a snag on my wire. Well, only one way to skin a cat. And we'll just cut that off. Wire was probably too long anyway. This is its way of letting me know about it. Now, go back again. Put the bead on the wire. Pull the bead down on the wire. Twist the bead around on the wire. It's repetition. I'm alternating the colors of them. You don't, just like when you're decorating the Christmas tree, you know, you don't want all the same color in the same spot on your tree unless you're doing the tree all in one color. You know, you have a group of red bulbs and then a group of green bulbs and a group of purple bulbs, or, you know, whatever you're doing, silver or what have you. You don't want them all bunched up in one spot. At least that's the way I was taught to do it. You spread them out. Boy, I tell you what, Christmas trees have changed over the years of what people put up for Christmas trees. You're doing the artificial trees. Majority of people, I think now, from what I'm seeing, at least in the stores, is that they're putting up the green tree. It looks more like a wild tree, you know, one that you'd go out and get at the Christmas tree lot. But when I was a kid, oh my goodness, they had some of the most, I think, in my opinion, god-awful Christmas trees you ever seen in your life. I remember for a long time we had one of them silver aluminum trees, and you had the circular thing that set out in front of it that had different colors on it that was electric, and it turned in a circle and would put different colors up on the tree. Oh, and I knew people that had pink Christmas trees, pink aluminum Christmas trees. Oh, goodness. It's interesting how things change over the years. I don't put a tree up myself anymore. My dogs don't care if I put one up or not. They they don't have much interest in it. And Fred, he just lied in and poop. So I don't need another mess to clean up. So I do not do Christmas trees. I've got one. I say I've got one put up. It's put up upstairs in the bag that it came in. It's been there since I moved here. All right. Well, I got all those put on that I'm going to put on. So now we got to tie the wire off. And I'm going to tie it off here on the back. Tie it off to itself. And it's going to have to be threaded through itself a couple of times here. And then I'll pull it back up through itself to knot it. And there's another little sprig of wire sticking out there. So we're going to grab that and tie that off too, just to make it look a little neater. Make sure I keep this in the camera so you can see what I'm doing. There we go. Tighten her up a little bit. And run that through the bottom of that. Back up through. And higher off. Then I'll come through. Scissors will cut this wire, it's so fine, but I don't like doling my scissors up, so I'm going to take the wire cutters, put them down there, cut that little snag of wire off, and that's what we've ended up with so far with our little tree. Now, the other thing I want to do to it, let me move some stuff around here. I've got a little bag of these blingy bling 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 blings that I thought would add a little blinginess to my tree. Yeah, I don't want to put a whole load of them on there, just a few, so we'll pull a little out of the bling bag there. And then in a little box of treasures that I got here, I pulled out a star and stuck it in this box when I was pulling out charms and stuff to work on other projects with. I knew I was going to be working on this tree. So I got my little box of hootenannies. And now I got to rake through it and try to find a little star. I don't want to dump them all out, but it may come to that. I mean, I got these other little stars, but that's not what I wanted. I had one special that I had picked up. And more than one way to skin a cat, I guess. So, I just start going through them. There's paper clips in there and all kinds of little hoo-haws. Where did that go? Of course, you know, I'm running a video here, so it's not gonna just show itself convenient like. Well, for goodness sakes almighty. Go through them one at a time. It'll be the last one in the box. There it is. Put my little silver star on there. Now, dump my hootenannies back in the hootenanny box. Who all else has hootenannies? Now, my little... These are like little diamondites or whatever you want to call them. And, well, that... I'll tell you what, them things is doggone tiny. Wowie wooey. Okay, I'm going to take a little coffee filter here. I'm going to put some Aliens Tacky Poo on there. It ain't going to take a whole lot. We're not trying to glue a house together. I'm going to take my stylus. I'm going to see if this will work here. Take my stylus and pick one of them up with a little glue on the back and just stick it down on there. And put my stylus in the glue, pick another one up, and put it down on my little tree. Now this Aliens Tacky Poo stuff, it dries clear, so they may look a little white going down on the tree, but that'll clear up when it dries. Go ahead and sprinkle these around, give it a little blingy bling bling. I don't want to cover up the tree, so I want the tree to still show up, but I do want it to look like a decorated tree when I get done. I think sometimes some of the ornaments that I've seen, they spend a whole lot of time covering up the ornament. If the ornament is your focal point, don't cover it up. Put stuff on it, but don't overwhelm it. What's that they say? Less is more. Well, got it all over the top of it. How about putting some on the bottom? I think that's giving it just a little bit more pizzazz to put them little blingies on there. I'm really interested to see what some of the other carvers do in the class or in the club there with the stuff that they're doing with their trees. Seeing what they come up with. They looked at me like I was a crazy woman when I said that I was going to paint it with alcohol ink. Let's see. There we go. There's a corner there that don't have nothing on it. I remember when I was a kid, Mom would look at the Christmas tree when it was all decorated, and she'd just be staring at it, you know. I'd say, well, what are you looking at? And she'd say, I'm making sure that it's got everything where it's supposed to be. For me, you know, the thing going through my mind is, where's the instruction manual that tells you where you're supposed to put everything on a Christmas tree? Of course, I wouldn't say that to her. She'd have backhanded me into next week, but looking to see where everything's supposed to be. Yeah. All right. There it is. I knew I had it there somewhere. It's hiding from me. Put that one right there up there on that corner. I got a few more out here. We can use the rest of these up, I think. Take that one. Put it right there. And to the bottom of them, get the glue on. Y'all have to leave me some comments down. Let me know what you think of my little wood carving project here. And how you like the use of the alcohol ink on the wood. There's the last one of the little blingy bling blings that I have out. I don't think it needs any more than what I've got on it. That looks pretty doggone good to me. And then for the star, since it's bigger and it's thicker, try to get it in the camera where you can see it here. It's bigger and thicker. So that is going to get some E6000 because I do not want the star falling off the tree. These little light bling blings, that I don't think they are a problem with the lighter glue, but that star is going to be heavy. All things taken into consideration. So we take a little E6000. We're going to dab it right there at the top of that tree. fairly thick, because we're going to stick that star right down in there. And then I want to turn it so the point is up on the top of it. And I may pull it a little more toward the top of the tree. Okay, now I'm going to wipe off my little stick here. And I'm going to come back in across that, take a little of that glue off, wipe that off on that paper. And we'll come back over here. Okay, that is just about it. The last thing that I got to do to it, besides let it dry, is I'm going to put a little bit of gold cord on it so they have some way to hang it up on the tree. That's always a plus, ain't it? To have an ornament and be able to hang it. I always hated that, getting the ornaments out, and you was always missing them little hook things. And then you'd have to go to town and buy hooks, and you always walk out with a dozen more things than what you went in there after. So there's the little tree. I'm going to take my little cord here, little gold cord, and I'm going to tie a little knot in the top of it. Well, easy for me to say. There we go. Pull it up toward the top of it, and then I take my scissors and trim that down a little bit. And there we are. So I'll move the camera down on it just a little bit here so you get a little better bird's eye view of what we've got on the little wooden tree, and give you a little review on this. The little wooden tree was roughed out on a scroll saw. Then I carved the little notches in there to give the illusion of it having some shape and branches and stuff to it. Sanded it down, eased off the edges a little bit on it so it wasn't quite so stiff and pointy. And then I painted it. I used Liquitex, copper, alcohol ink, and I did it on the front and on the back. I signed the back of it down at the bottom. I come in with some silver alcohol ink just around the edges of the branches and stuff. Give it a little illusion of having some snow or possibly flocking or whatever you want to call it on there. Then I put 2 coats of the gloss varnish on it. Let that dry. Put the bail on the back of it so it would have something to hang it from. I took 30 gauge. I'm saying that, and then I'm thinking maybe it wasn't 30 gauge. And I don't see the spool here now. There it is. We'll take another look-see. 34 gauge. Bead wire in gold color. And I wrapped little stone beads around and around and around on it. Then I took some little bling beads, flatback beads, and I glued them down with the alien's tacky poo. I believe some of you call it aliens. So that's what I used on them. And then I used a little E6000 there to put the star on. I used E6000 to put the bail on. I put a little gold cord in the top of it so they'll have a way to hang it on the tree. And that's what we have there for the Christmas ornament for the Jay County, Indiana Community Center Christmas tree. There is my contribution, and everybody in the club is carving up something for it. So there you go. So leave me some comments. Let me know if you like this. Give it a thumbs up. Share it around. let everybody see what they can do with wood. Let them see what they can do with alcohol ink. Let them see what they can do with beads. Let them see what they can do for Christmas ornaments. I mean, we have a whole conglomeration all in one video here. So I hope you enjoyed this. If you haven't subbed to the channel, please do. And tell your friends. I mean, you know, all of us need all the help we can get. And, you know, if any of the rest of you that do any videos on YouTube, you need any of my support for your channels, you let me know. And I'll do the best I can to help support you. That's what we're all here for, is to help each other and create and give great ideas to each other. So with that, we'll shut her down. And, hey, I'll see you on the next video. Keep creating.